Hello everyone, my name is Keb, and you are watching Chapter 11 of my Fire Emblem 12 Lunatic mode, Blind LTC. To see what I mean by Blind LTC, take a look at the description. But in short, this is my first time playing Lunatic, I haven't planned ahead, and I'm trying to LTC every map, one chapter at a time. Chapter 11 is where this game really starts to pick up in difficulty. It's our first real encounter with dragons, and it happens to be the flying 12-move wyverns on a desert map. On top of that, there are also hidden items in the desert that we need to collect. With all of this complexity and difficulty, it should be no surprise that this is the first chapter where my lack of planning has made things much harder than it needed to be. If you count the tiles, Marth can reach the gate as early as turn 4 with the help of 2 rescue users. The first one rescues the second, who charges to the gate and rescues Marth. With only one rescue, we can only seize on turn 6, so this is a nice turn save. That's great, but there are 2 major challenges with this strategy for my particular run. First and foremost, my rescue staff only has 2 uses left, so if I want to 4-turn this map, I'll need to Hammer'n the rescue staff halfway through. And that leads me right into the second challenge. The rescuers will be at the front of the pack, facing tons of danger. Because I need to Hammer'n the rescue staff halfway through, the first rescuer has to be Marisha, who isn't exactly known for handling danger well. But as it turns out, my Marisha can just barely hit the needed thresholds for surviving after promoting, using a speed bond, and finally using the speed wings that we got back in Chapter 9. While it does feel pretty bad to give stat boosters to a healer, no one else really needs the speed wings right now, and worst case, I still have 3 available in the Preps Armory. Marisha may be put in a lot of danger, but that's nothing compared to the second rescuer, who will have to charge all the way to the gate and rescue Marth. All of our canon magic users are way too weak for the task, so once again, it's up to Sage Pala. And we're not just using Pala for her survivability either, she's actually going to have to carry some combat as well. In fact, we've given her every magic boosting shard and the rainbow potion, for a grand total of +6 to her magic stat. The other heavy lifters of this chapter are Chris, who can double and one-round wyverns with the Scorpio Shard, and Etzel, who one-shots them with the Excalibur Tome. Deploying Etzel allows us to exploit a very weird AI behavior with the wyverns in relation to target selection. I'll explain more on that later. We've also reached a point in the game where certain enemy types are too tough to one-round without a crit. Frey joined with the Killer Lance back in Chapter 6, which helps a lot, but for this map, we also need a second crit lance. That's why I've forged 2,000 gold worth of crit onto this Iron Lance, which I've dubbed the Filler Lance. Before starting the map, we need to stat check one particular wyvern. We need this one to roll down to 17 strength, since that puts it just shy of 1 rounding Sirius. By the way, I've been working on another project that collects stats of FE12 enemies on all difficulties. The idea is to run many trials per map in order to understand the distribution of stat variance, and I'm hoping that this will make it a bit easier to see strategies that require certain stat rolls. To start off, Chris has been placed in a position where he can one-run 3 left side wyverns on the first enemy phase. We need to deal with them because there is a speed wings in the bottom left corner, which Wendell will be tasked with retrieving. With a dance from Fina, Marisha charges to the front of the pack while also healing Chris from the steel bow shot he just took. This next enemy phase is almost 100% reliable if Chris is at full health, though he does face a slight crit chance against one of the barbarians because he has a killer axe. Chris has a decent chance of dodging these attacks, but he doesn't need to thanks to the robe that he used during preps. Etzel also picks up his first wyvern kill of the clear, but this one didn't have anyone else to attack, so there aren't any tricks here. Turn 2 is when we start exposing our staffers to significant danger, and the rest of our units will be positioned in a way to help them survive. Marisha takes the Scorpio Shard from Chris, which lets her hit 17 speed thanks to the Speed Wings and Speed Bond. That's just barely enough to not get doubled and one-rounded by the 20 speed Wyverns. She rescues Pala with a boost from Chris and Minerva, and Pala will be taking it from here. Another thing that makes this clear challenging is that both rescues need to be boosted in order to make it in time. This next enemy phase involves a ton of enemy manipulation. In order for all of this to work, we need to take advantage of an AI oddity that involves counter-killing. So these Wyverns can all one-round Etzel, but they'll all get killed on the counterattack thanks to Excalibur. The AI seems to understand that they can't actually kill Etzel, which bumps their attack down into the attacks that don't kill action phase. However, when selecting which target to actually attack, they seem to still think that they can double, which makes them attack Etzel over juicier targets. So Marisha is in range of 2 Wyverns that would be able to combine for a kill, and she takes the most damage out of all of our units thanks to her low defense. But because the Wyvern thinks that he can double Etzel during expected damage calculation, it goes for him instead of Marisha. Sirius has also baited over the other Wyvern using his low luck. On turn 3, Etzel swings back to deal with the Wyvern that Sirius had just baited. This means that we can no longer get the Draco Shield and Arm Scroll in the top right of the map, because all of our other units would be too busy. I'm sure that there's a way to route at least one of these boosters in, but I couldn't see it. Marisha hands off the Scorpio Shard to Pala, which lets her double all of the unpromoted enemies around the gate. Katria cleans up this Barbarian while also picking up the Killer Axe. This last Hunter can potentially clog up our movement path on turn 4, but he can only attack either Pala or Katria, who can both one-round back with 2 range. He ended up going for Pala, which is why she needed all of those magic boosting shards and the Elfire Tome to one-round. You may have noticed a couple of Wyverns near the gate who are just kind of sitting around doing nothing, and that's because they're all linked to one of the Sword Masters for some reason. So as long as you seize quickly after approaching them, they won't cause any trouble. Shida recruits Jake, who buys a couple of Dragon Pikes from the secret shop. While this clear didn't really need much dragon effective weaponry, the next couple of chapters definitely will. This is because Wyverns are pretty frail defensively when compared to Fire Dragons, in exchange for their crazy movement. Marisha trades the rescue staff to Paula and hammers it back to full durability, which lets her rescue Marth in range of the gate thanks to a boost from Minerva and Sirius. Funnily enough, I nearly gave up on this clear because I thought that the tile above Marth was a cliff, but it actually isn't. That means that we don't have to deal with this Swordmaster because he's not actually holding a choke point. This is probably just another tiling error from the devs, since there are a few more cases like that in this game. We'll take it though. Etzel hits the save point just in time for Chris and Katria to finish off this map with a double crit. Chris takes out the Swordmaster with the Filler Lance, which nets us the Master Sword and the energy drop, and Katria Killer Lance crits the boss. Marth scales the side of a cliff, and that's chapter 11 completed in 4 turns. I'll see you next time.